When it comes to home improvement, you've got choices. Let's say there's a hole in the bedroom wall, and somehow nobody in the house knows how it got there. You could fix it. I mean, there's always YouTube, right? But 3 hours later, it's going to look like a patch job. Not even a good patch job. And how about that leak under the kitchen sink? Yeah, you said you'd get to it, and that was what? 2.5, 3 months ago? If we're being honest, we all have that list. The one where deep down, you're not totally sure you've got the skills to pull it off. If it's my list, I'm calling Mac of all trades. Holes in the wall, handled. Leaky sinks, done. Full kitchen remodel? Yeah, they got that too. And hey, warmer weather's coming. How's that deck looking? Need it extended? Rebuilt? Outdoor patio? Don't be a deckhead. Call Mac of all trades, 585-202-9218. That's 585-202-9218. And you can see all they do online at macofalltrades.net. They'll handle it, so you don't have to.
The only podcast where the host needs a therapist.
An issue for me that I've realized is I need external validation. I need external validation from women.
And wants to be one.
I hear you. I hear you.
From the Mac of all trades studio in Fairport, New York, it's Billified, the Bill Moran Podcast.
Welcome. Thanks for getting your pod on. Thank you for telling a friend. That's how we spread the word. June is Pride Month, and then depending on who you ask, it's a celebration, it's a protest, a marketing campaign, a movement. Maybe it's all those things at once, depending. So today, I wanted to sit down with someone who actually lives it. Not to argue, not to score points, just to have everyone understand a person's experience, because I think that curiosity is something that sometimes we lose, and we don't learn about somebody, and then we don't have I just think we don't have the right perspective on things, and sometimes that hurts us. So I would like to introduce Aggy Dune in all her glory.
Well, hello.
Yes, hello. Thank you, first of all.
Of course, anytime.
Because I really appreciate you coming in and making time for this, and I know that you have a lot going on.
Just a few things.
Yeah.
It's Pride season. We have to visit all the children and come down the chimney and leave candy canes. It's a lot.
What does Pride Month actually mean for you personally?
Personally, oh wow, that's a big right off the bat.
I'm sorry,
going right in there. I love this.
I'll go deep.
You just crack the crust and get right in there to the good parts.
Yes, yeah. We got to
like
find your nougaty center.
Pride.
Yes, just a pot pie of pride.
Pride. It is. It's something I've been involved with in Rochester ever since I can remember. Like as soon as I moved to Rochester, I was like, Pride is something you have to be part of. So I've been in like the first Pride parade that we had that went down Main Street a million years ago to High Falls when they were just building that.
Yeah.
And so here's these floats of drag queens and gay people and lesbians on motorcycles all going down Main Street. And there was, of course, it's Main Street in Rochester, so there's nothing there.
Right.
So we're waving to nobody.
Yeah.
But the only people who were there were people protesting. And I go,
oh, really?
Yeah. So to see that from like I'm going to say like the mid-late 80s through now, to go like, okay, we just had a few protesters out there and they're still showing up. But there's so many more people who are showing up to like say, we're here to support. And so now like we're not just waving to nobody. We're having a lot more fun with it.
Is it something you look forward to every year?
That's like saying, like, do you look forward as a parent? Do you look forward to having like Christmas time and all the headaches that go with it? The actual festival and like all that. Yes, but no. Right. It's a lot of work and it's a lot going on, but it's also like a lot of fun. And so it's like the most joyous time of the year.
So has the meaning changed for you at all as you've gotten older, I'll ask? Like,
yes, I think our perspectives and everything
changes. Sure. I don't think we're the same person we were 5 years ago.
No, 5 years ago, 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I mean, very well. 5 minutes ago. I'm already over it. No, I think you're definitely changed. At first, it's like, I'm here, I'm queer, get used to it kind of thing. And now, like, I'm here and I'm here to, like, kind of, I don't know what you do with it now. You're just you're more in tune to where you are in the world and how you can make a bigger difference as opposed to just being loud and proud and just out there like waving your flag. So for me, it's like meeting all these different people. And as a drag performer, I kind of feel like my job and my responsibility is to be that, I'm going to say like community cultural liaison. I may be the first official queer person that you've met. So I have to make sure that it's a positive experience for people. I'm sort of like that bridge, that the gateway drug to the gay community. I'm like, wait, there's one of those sparkly ones. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I can get it. She's going to induct me into the community. But I think it's like if you can meet somebody, especially people who are like so afraid of the gay community or the pride movement or whatever, and you meet somebody one-on-one, you can have a conversation. But when people are so diametrically opposed how we are in today's society, I think that it immediately like, oh my God, is there rainbows or a sparkly wig or a man in a dress? Oh my God, we hate this. This is the worst thing in the world. Right. But when you can talk to people one-on-one, you can really meet them where they're at and find out that all of us have a lot more in common than we have differences. And if we allow like this whole movement of like dividing our country and dividing our different people's beliefs or lifestyles or whatever you want to call it, and you can find out that we're actually more in common. So,
do you think like when you talk of the division, I don't know if you'll agree with this, but I feel like it's enhanced by social media.
Oh my God, it is a megaphone for it.
Because I think that everybody wants to feel like they're right.
Oh, yeah.
And correct in their opinion.
And they want to seek out other opinions that support how they feel.
And so the algorithm feeds them that, right? Yeah. This is what they like. This is what they... So therefore, everybody in the world agrees with them.
Exactly.
And it's an interesting thing for me because I always go, well, by definition, an opinion would be halfway between fact and fiction. Now, I've had people who have doctorates in philosophy tell me that that's a little bit of a flawed definition, because you can have an opinion that has a higher percentage of fact and an opinion that has a higher percentage of fiction. It is a mixture of the two. But I would say it's a mixture of the two. And so I would ask you, what do people who aren't part of the LGBTQ community, what do they misunderstand about pride?
Well, I think it depends, for that question, on what side of the spectrum are you falling. If you're not part of that community, where are you? Are you on the extreme left or the extreme right, or you're somewhere in the middle? I think for most, I can't think of anybody out there these days with the young people are so, I'm going to say, emboldened to be themselves, that they're just a lot more forward with that again goes back to social media. Maybe they're like, I found other people who are like me, so I'm more emboldened to express who I am as a person. So I don't think there's any family or anyone out there who doesn't have somehow, somewhere in the many branches of their family, that there isn't a few fruits hanging off of the branches somewhere. So I don't know how they can look at that and say that, you can see that person is like, obviously, like if let's say it's your brother's kid, it's your nephew, and you go, I've always known since he was 3, he's just drawing women's shoes all the time. I'm like, okay, we might have an indication. Yeah. There will be signs.
But pause that for a second, because the idea that you can be conditioned to be gay, I'm going to say, is a very false premise. Oh. I have 3 sons. They like trucks. We used to go look at construction equipment. They were, right? I think they were given a doll by somebody, and at first it was kind of a novelty, and then it wound up at the bottom of the toy box. It wasn't where their interest was. So I didn't condition them that way. I didn't go, get these guys trucks and make sure they have footballs and jock straps, and you know what I mean? It just was kind of the way it was. So when if people are born that way, I even think that, not to take it too far off topic, but that we have what is now referred to as MAPs, which are, right, and you know what a MAP is, yes. So it would be, people who are into kids, find children attractive, right? Minor attracted person is what MAP stands for. And I'm going, you probably were born that way. Now, I will say this. I bet everybody has someone who is a MAP that they interact with regularly on their life, but that person doesn't act on it.
Yeah.
But they are minor attracted.
Yeah.
And so that's a weird thing, right? Say that to somebody and woo, right? Everybody's sphincter gets tight and they run the other way. I just think that we aren't honest sometimes with things, with ourselves. And I think a lot of people, one of the things that I'm learning to do, and I was terrible at until, is to kind of sit with your feeling and try to go, why do I feel this way?
Yeah.
What is the underlying thing? Where did the conditioning come from for this vitriol that comes out of people?
Because I always if you look at like little kids and kids are playing, they're all at the daycare together. Kids don't inherently hate anything. They don't hate other people. They don't see differences. This is my best friend. We're twins.
Yes.
And one is black and one is white, and they don't even see that. They go, we're twins. Everybody says it. We look alike. And that's what kids are. They're conditioned through, whether it's like their religions or their family beliefs or, a very strong, parenting style or whatever it is, that they're taught to hate certain types of people or certain things about themselves.
Right.
So I just think that
which is very unfortunate.
It is.
I really believe that. If you could explain pride to, let's say, a 10-year-old,
okay,
what would you say about pride itself?
I would say to a 10-year-old, because you have to explain it in a 10-year-old's mind of what makes sense.
Yep.
So I say, as a 10-year-old, I'm like, tell me who the 10-year-old is, and I'll tell you the story of how to tell it to them. So it's a 10-year-old who has what kind of parents?
A 10-year-old whose dad is super macho, right?
Yep.
I don't know, motorcycles, big trucks, and is over testosterone, right?
Overcompensation.
Yeah,
sure.
overcompensation in a certain way. I will say that. I'm a big fan of noticing overcompensation. Let's say that, and mom is more of a fawning response. She just kind of, whatever dad wants, she's there to please him and make him happy, and whatever it is, and she's going to go along.
Cleaver.
You got it. And but there's no real opinion because mom doesn't know who she is exactly because this is where mom came from and that's what she's attracted to.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what her thing is. So for that kid, I would just say what pride is, it's so you have your mom and your dad and they love each other. Yeah, okay. Well, now you've got Billy that you go to school with and he has two dads. But is that different than your mom and dad? And they go, well, he has two dads. I'm like, yeah, but is that any different? So the pride is so they say that it's okay for us to I like these two people. These are my parents, and I'm proud of them. So to another kid, if you put it into the kid's perspective of somebody else he knows at his age, I'm like, so this is so that his family, which is different than yours, says we're proud of who we are, and you are proud of your mom and dad, and this one, and then Sally over here is proud of her two moms, and she's proud of that. So it's pride in your family and who you are as a person, and it's just about being your own way to express who you are as a person, and just say I'm proud of what I am. I'm a good person, and that's all I have to say. So a kid to a 10-year-old, and they go like this. Oh wait, that's all it is? I go, yeah, just being proud of everything that makes you special at who you are. And then the kids go, oh, I get this. And then they immediately go, I want to wear a rainbow. They go, and I'm like, we're not inducting you. We don't want that at all. That is not, this isn't, we're far, far away from that. But it is just letting kids know, on a way that does not say, this is a sexual thing. Because I think that for so many, it goes straight to that. And I go, well, is that really what life is all about? Is really, the big scheme of things, how many minutes a day is that for you?
What's that?
Having sex.
Having sex?
Yeah. How many days? How many minutes in the day? Well, I should say in a week.
Yeah,
let's figure it out into a week. You're still down to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
The rest of the time, you are the person and that you are, and you're who you are as your values and the people that you love and how you care for people. That is what makes up what you are. That other part is such a
brilliant way of putting it. It really is. It's a really kind, thoughtful way of doing that. Some local towns are have removed pride flags from public spaces. When that happens, what goes through your mind?
I've been around a long time, so I've seen where I grew up when I was becoming myself. Was like in the 80s, and then you saw we were going through the AIDS epidemic, and it was an epidemic, and then the country, as our government, just ignored it and said these are people that don't matter, so we don't really care because it's not affecting the real people in the country.
It was almost as though I think, because I grew up in the 80s,
yeah,
and the way I remember it was almost like this is the punishment for doing.
This is a punishment for your sin,
from going against God.
So to go from that and then to fight along the way to get health care and to then get to the point where you can't be fired from your job for being gay, and then you can't get fired.
Well, you can get fired for being gay?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. That was things that you could be legally terminated from your job. Like back in the 80s, this is you could be fired for that. You could lose your apartment because the landlord can go, we don't want you here. And that's legal status to get rid of you. So to make those kind of advancements and saying we're not looking for special rights. We're just looking for the same thing because we don't have them currently. So to see those progresses happening and then to now the town is putting up the pride flag and saying, we're not saying that the whole town is gay. We're just saying that if you are a person who identifies under this kind of this flag, it seems like the flag is such a powerful thing these days. But if you identify in the LGBTQ, that this is a safe place for you to say you could build a life and a family and a community here. And then to have that put up, Webster, in Webster, and then just days later, their council gets together and makes a vote and says, no, we really can't have these flags up on public spaces. So they took it all down. It felt like a step forward, a step back, and you go, oh, you're slapped right back into it's 1980 again. So does it sting? Yes. And you also go okay, but the gays are, if nothing, resilient. No matter what you do, we just keep rising up.
There's something you said in there that I found really, I think, of value for people. Is we're not looking for, and I'm going to get
we're not looking for special rights. We're just looking for
the same
rights.
Yes,
because we don't have that in a lot of things. You up until we had marriage equality, you didn't have the same rights for the person that you love and that you're spending your life with.
Well, there's a lot of times when someone's dying.
Oh yeah, and you don't have the rights to go in.
You didn't have the rights to go in.
You don't have the rights to go into that
because you weren't a perceived partner.
So there's a lot of those things that, for whatever reason, I don't know why. I think it's my takeaway is that the people on, we'll say, the far right that have problems with the gay community is that they're an easy monster under the bed to point to. Those drag queens are trying to read books to my kids and give them thoughts like words.
I always thought the reading to I thought most kids don't care. They just find someone in a costume. By the way, one of the most popular children's programs in the 80s, Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Loved it.
Was there not somebody who was very much like a drag queen?
Miss Yvonne.
Miss Yvonne. I couldn't remember.
Yvonne.
Wow, look at you come up with that.
Oh,
That's fantastic.
I was such a fan of that show.
Yeah. And I thought that's different. Now, I will say, and this has nothing, and I have talked about it ad nauseum for years on both radio, but I've been doing a little bit more because I think that I dealt with it on the surface for many years. Is I was sexually molested as a young 7-year-old. Wow. And the things I did when I realized that they were gay, I was really scared that everybody would think I was gay. So I wouldn't even kiss a girl because she would know that I had done something gay because I didn't know how to kiss a girl. Well, nobody knows how to kiss a girl.
Nobody knows.
But you don't know that as a kid. And this was my secret. So I never talked about it. I never did anything, right? All that stuff. But the worst thing, and I've said this, that you could be in a locker room in the 80s was perceived as gay.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
And growing up in that whole frame and being that gay kid and you monitor every single thing that you
almost become hyper vigilant in everything.
And so you don't become who you are. Let's say it's high school and you're going through that. You don't become who you are because you are so preoccupied of putting on the persona of what you think people want to see, so that they can't see the real you.
Well,
Because if they see the real,
fawning.
so you study people,
Sure,
and you start like learning what is a masculine way to walk, what is a masculine way to like sit down on this and not like cross my ankle. I've got to put it up and sit with my legs spread out. And so you start learning these things, so you don't become your authentic self. And for a lot of people, they don't get to experience that until they go to college. And so there's always the whole, I experimented in college. For a lot of people, they go to college, and it's the first time that they aren't monitored under that whole group of people that you've grown up your entire life. These are the 120 people that are in my class. I'm like, and now these are the people in my homeroom. These are the ones. So the same ones in my locker room for the 12 years of school. So you monitor yourself and edit yourself so much that you become an inauthentic version of yourself. And so when they finally go somewhere else where there's no one who knows them, and they can now try on different kind of personalities or things that they always wanted to try, but they weren't sure, is this who I am? Because I don't even know. I'm still figuring it out, because I've buried myself under layers and layers of armor for so long that you don't get to know who you are. So people are discovering themselves, especially through the college years, of like trying on different things and going, is this who I am? Is this who I am? And I think that we see that now in I'll say a more extreme way, maybe not extreme, that's the wrong word, with people who are like experimenting with like their identity of like who they are as gender. We used to just go, oh, they're sort of, what did we use back in the 80s? That they're like, oh crap, the word just escaped me. But it was like they're androgynous.
Androgynous. Yes. That was the term.
That was the term.
Yes.
And so they're androgynous.
I'm surprised that's not somebody's drag name.
Oh, should be. I'm sure there's
like
got to be
androgyny one. Or
yeah. I just worked with a queen named Misogyny, which I thought was fantastic.
Very good. Does any of that feel personal with the flag when they taking it down, or do you just say, here we go again?
To me, I just go, it's small minds being controlled by a larger like group that are saying, here's the thing to be afraid of, not like a person or that you like. Here's the thing. This is an easy thing to point out, and it's a trigger for people who follow a dog whistle. It's a sign. It's a symbol. And when you see that symbol, it's evil.
Okay, so I mean, I would say like, is it rejection, disagreement, or something?
I think
else?
it's something if you are preoccupied with hating a group of people that you don't know anything about, or you don't really have an opinion on, you're just so focused on that, you're not looking at a bigger picture of like all the things that they're doing everywhere else. Like, look over here. We don't have an island with 12-year-olds on it. No, look over here. It's that gay flag. That's what's
by the
doing
way.
things.
I mean, somebody needs to buy it. It's a really valuable property.
It's
a bad history, but I mean, come on, you can probably get it dirt cheap these days. I would think.
I think that you. I have
it's
so
fucking
many,
wild, though, right? I mean, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and so it's like if it's easy to say, look at that monster over there.
Yes,
it's that trans person using a bathroom. That's like they're going to be the downfall of our country. You don't understand, because that turns somebody who's already marginalized, and we'll say in a lot of incidences that easily identifiable, that you can just visually look and go, that's one of them. That becomes the evil person. You can project everything on it. That every time you say trans, that we'll say the Fox News is going trans and pedophiles, that you attach those words together because it's all so deviant and it's all wrapped up in this like craziness. So then you just vilify an entire group of marginalized people because it's easy to do that. These immigrants coming in, it's the same thing. So they just, especially this time of year, it's like, well, they're all out in full force. Like, we're here against that flag, that colorful flag, that just these colors that happen in nature.
What do you say to the argument that the government shouldn't fly any special interest flags other than, what do you think about that argument?
You know what? If I am for clear and precise messaging. And if the law is we don't fly any of them, so no POW flags, we have no like farmers against like the chew worms or whatever is coming in now, whatever the thing is out there, as long as it applies to everything across the board, and that includes Webster and your kids' playground that has for kids with disabilities, and they had their flag up, and that had to be taken down, and people are outraged that you took down the flag for the kids' playground. I go, rules are rules.
Right.
So as long as if it's cut and dry, it's okay. It's okay. I think it would just, when everything applies equally for everyone,
Right.
that's equal rights.
Right.
So I'm okay with it if that's what the things are going to be, as long as it's applied to everybody.
I think it's an intelligent way to look at something. If somebody supports equal rights,
Yeah.
But isn't comfortable with pride celebrations, are they still an ally?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very. That's,
I would say that. Yeah. I'm like, I may not be like that. That might be my neighbor Mary, who's like, she's a great neighbor. Like, oh, you guys come over and help me with this, and can you watch my house while I'm going to be going on Cancun, whatever it is. But she may not be comfortable putting the flag out, and there could be 1,000 reasons why she's not comfortable with that. And one of them might be that her other neighbor, who is like Jerry Redneck, would be like, I hate her now because of this. And so that could be a self-protecting thing of her. She's like, I support these people, but I can't put the thing up because I'm going to be judged by the other people. So it's just, I'm like, can't we go back to can't we all just get along?
Yeah. I mean, that's a very, very good thing. There's something that I have seen a lot online, going back, and it's a George Carlin comedy piece. Are you familiar with
genius?
Yes, but okay. But is this something that I'll play the clip if you don't mind.
He said so much.
He did.
Yeah.
And I will I'll save my thoughts for later.
From Fairport.
Whoops, let's see. Hang on, do I have the right? Oh no, I'm not on the right bank. Here we go.
Kids have to be warned that there's bullshit coming down the road. That's the biggest thing you can do for a kid. Tell them what life in this country is about. It's about a whole lot of bullshit that needs to be detected and avoided. That's the best thing you can do. No one told me. No one told me a thing like that. I was never warned about any of this. Had to find all of it out for myself. And there are still, as with you probably, a lot of things that you're expected to believe and accept in America that I personally have a problem with, and I question a lot of these things. Give you an example. I saw a slogan on the guy's car. It said, "Proud to be an American." And I thought, well, what the fuck does that mean? Proud to be an American. You see, I've never understood national pride. I've never understood ethnic pride because I'm Irish, and all four of my grandparents were born in Ireland, so I'm fully Irish. And when I was a kid, I would go to the St. Patrick's Day parade, and I noticed that they sold a button that said, "Proud to be Irish." And I could never understand that because I knew that on Columbus Day, they sold a different button that said, "Proud to be Italian." Then came Black pride and Puerto Rican pride, and I could never understand ethnic or national pride because to me, pride should be reserved for something you achieve or attain on your own, not something that happens by accident of birth. Being Irish... Being Irish isn't a skill. It's a fucking genetic accident. You wouldn't say I'm proud to be 5'11". I'm proud to have a predisposition for colon cancer. So why the fuck would you be proud to be Irish or proud to be Italian or American or anything? If you're happy with it, that's fine. Do that. Put that on your car. Happy to be an American. Be happy. Don't be proud. Too much pride as it is. Pride goeth before a fall. Never forget Proverbs, okay? Now, here's another slogan. Here's another slogan you run into all the time. God bless America. Once again, respectfully, I say to myself, what the fuck does that mean?
But you get the thing.
Yeah.
What do you think he got right? I mean, he says they're being proud of things you accomplish, not things you're born into. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I can agree with that.
I can go, okay, I can understand like that point of view of it. Yeah.
Would you say, and I'll ask this thing, when we talking about an accomplishment, and you just talked about something that I think is so important for everyone to be, because I think we've heard it most of our lives, be yourself. Yeah. Now it's be your authentic self, and that's what you had said. But in cases where you described trying to read people, trying to figure out how should I be because I'm not.
Right.
So would the acceptance of who you are at your core be an accomplishment?
Oh, yeah. I think that's the hardest thing to do.
Okay. I agree. I think that sitting and figuring out who you really are is a really hard thing to do.
if you ask somebody point blank, tell me exactly who you are, they just freeze because they have no idea. Because everyone is putting on masks every day of like to hide the parts of them that they may not be like is comfortable with, or that they think they'll be judged by somebody else, whether they're straight or gay or whatever their thing is. And so I think that we all put on so many masks. So many people are not sure of who they are. And when you meet somebody like a transgender person, I had done they were filming a documentary, and I was out there for part of it, totally separate from this documentary. It was on Amazon called Becoming Jane was the documentary, but I was out there because they were doing a transgender, basically a star search, and I was doing the hair and makeup for all the fashion shoots and things for the company I was working for. And you get out there, and it's all transgender people who are competing for this modeling agency's representation, and they only represent transgender individuals. It's called I'll think of it in a second. But but we meet these people, and because they know so sure of who they are, they have gone through all of those barriers of like the things they're afraid of, and then embrace who they are. And because they're so sure of they are, they're so powerful. And you're just like, this is this wave of genuineness that's coming at you, and they're so powerful that you're literally moved to emotions on this, because you're like, this person knows who they are and the space they take up in the world, and they're confident in all of that. And that scares the crap out of the people who are trying to like make sure that you put up more masks, or they're not sure of themselves. So they like, that person is so sure of who they are. It's terrifying to other people.
I knew that I was more comfortable with people who, I guess you would say, I don't know what the right, gay, right? I come from, much like George, a very Irish family. I had a grandmother who did not work, a grandfather who had a 6th grade education but became a New York City fireman. My mom was the first person to go to college. But he was, I'm very, very proud.
That's the right word.
Right. But pride. There was pride in him for what he had accomplished.
I'm proud in my family for their accomplishments.
Yes.
He only had a 6th grade education and went on to do this.
Yes.
I am proud of him overcoming something.
But there was a kid down the street whose dad wound up leaving his mom for another man. And I was always pretty sure that this kid's name was Steven. Steven was, he was just different, but I enjoyed talking to him. He was a smart kid. I wanted to be on the radio so badly. We would talk about music and stuff, and we were just kids. My grandmother had what I always called a bottle cap pool, the above ground pool. And this was down closer to New York City. And Steven came over to swim once with earplugs and a nose clip. And my grandmother's like, that little fruit. And I found that so entertaining. Like, I found it so great, to the point where years later, again, Irish. I think my grandfather, we had fucking shit-faced in the St. Patrick's Day parade as a fireman and stuff. I remember sitting in my mom's kitchen. I was married at the time, and I had children. And I'm sitting there with my grandmother, who very, very Irish Catholic, staunch, this thing. And now it was on the news that for the first time ever in the St. Patrick's Day parade, they were going to allow gay representation. And I remember sitting there, and I apologize, Tom, but I said, oh, you know what those gays do? Just to see. She went, what? I said, they put that filthy thing in their mouth. And there's silence.
Yeah.
Tom, within 5 minutes, she's gagging. I don't know what's happening. She's going, oh. I go, what's happening? They put that filthy thing in their mouth. I fucking lost it. I'm laughing so hard because I'm going, who gives a shit? By the way, the mere fact that this was an argument my father used to make, and I don't know how you're going to feel about this, but that we have to declare our bedroom habits at the door seems to be somewhat invasive in this world. But I don't. I also haven't been oppressed. I haven't been able to be fired from a job. I haven't been denied insurance. I haven't been denied being next to the loved one. And I can say to you that, I mean, the word that is no longer allowed, fag, was one of my favorite words.
Oh, it was such I say that all the time. I'm like, I grew up in a time when we only had 3 pronouns. We had he, she, and faggot. And and you know what?
Oh, God, that is great.
And I don't think that only certain people can say it on. So, but I put that in my act. And
that is a great. Like, well, you do a lot of comedy, and you're very funny.
You may not like that word, but you knew where you stood with people, and you liked it.
Yes, right.
Because it's so you that is it a word? Yeah, and sort of like the young people now taking the word queer, and I hated that word growing up. Hated it. So much.
Sure.
And now it's like, oh no, we're the queer community. I'm like, we did not have a vote on this. I did not get a vote.
Right.
Just happened. So now I'm like, I have to embrace it. And you move forward because things change and words change.
Yes, they do. And as it should.
As it should.
Was there anything in that piece that you feel like Carlin may have missed? Because he is talking more about national pride. He's not talking about...
He's talking about national pride. And it's funny. You look at him and people talk about him now and go, oh, he was so ahead of his time. He's so ahead of his time. I go,
yes,
our times have not changed.
No.
People have not changed.
No.
We have aged, and you've gotten more enlightened and more aware of how the world actually is as you get older. And then you look back on something like that and go, oh, that's speaking to what's happening now. He's ahead of his time. I'm like, no, you were just ignorant back then because you were not paying attention.
Right.
You were being a 20-year-old like I am, just out partying and getting hammered and having fun and not paying attention. So I think his point to national pride of like, you didn't do anything. His words were something that genetically you were born into. So if you were born in America to have like, I'm proud to be American, it doesn't make any sense. And like you were just, your mother just,
lottery,
held in a sneeze and poof, out you showed out like, and you were on this dirt. What did you do for that? Nothing. The person who immigrated here and had to learn the language, learn the culture, and then become a citizen has more pride in being an American than an American. Yeah. Because it's always been there for you. So it's not something that you had to earn. So it's sort of like having a trust fund that you don't know the value of money because it's always been there. Right. The person who has to earn your own money knows the value of money and what goes into that. So
it's interesting you say that because I would also say that, immigrating to this country or emigrating, either one, is very, very difficult.
It's not easy.
My brother-in-law's father was a diplomat from Somalia. The country fell. There were 2. One man went back, and when he and his entire family were killed. Yeah. So Mustafa's mom, I think he was 6 months old at the time, took him and they had many kids, and got it. So she was going on vacation, and she came. I don't know where they went from Somalia. They may have gone to Greece or something, wherever it was, and then eventually America. Dad stripped of his diplomatic status, winds up being a cab driver in D.C., Mom gets an education and becomes, I think she's a home health aide even to this day, or a nurse. And then there were overachievers in the family, and then there were those that fell victim to drugs and things because it's so hard. It's so hard. And I think your point of trying to have something to, like, how do I fit in here?
How do I fit in?
How do I fit in? And I'm either going to be brilliantly smart or work my ass off, or I'm just going to party and have.
Yeah, I'm just going to be another statistic. So I think that that in that instance, does that family have like American pride? Yeah. Like the things that they have gone through to escape just to survive and to end up in the land of promise and opportunity. And the fact that we are like, put up walls, put up borders. We can't have people coming in. Obviously that you want people coming in and doing everything the right way.
Yes,
and we're all, and that's policy is an ever evolving and changing thing as we've learned that. Well, that wasn't the best route. Shift and go this way, and we're constantly going to make it better. But I can't. When you talk to somebody one-on-one and you say, "Well, they're like all these people coming into our country, and what are we going to do about this? Is horrible." I go, "You came here," but there are people who are leaving, whether it's famine or like just violence in the country they're in, or like Somalia where everything's collapsing.
I mean, it was, and then we're going back. Mustafa's going to be in his 40s. I'm thinking this is the 80s.
Yeah, and so to see these people just saying, "I want to protect my family and I want to go someplace safe," And how do you look at somebody in the eyes and that are coming here and saying, I want to make an opportunity for my family and protect my family? How do you look at them and say, you don't belong here?
Right. I mean, I do think, like, I watched it when I was married. My brother-in-law married a woman from the Philippines. He was in the Army. And it was really hard for her to get here and to go through the stuff. It was tough.
Even with him being in the service.
Yeah.
And then getting married
and
to
he was
American.
an officer. He was a West Point graduate. He was this. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would ask you this. Is pride, when we call it pride, is it really about being proud of who you are, or is it more of, I'm not going to be ashamed of who I am, refusing to be ashamed?
I think it's a refusing to go back into a closet. So I'm like, you're not going to put me where you want me because it's comfortable for you in the world.
Yeah.
I am going to be in the world as myself. And are we going to have a parade? If people go, do we need a pride parade?
Right.
We've passed all these different laws.
Yes.
And do we need that? And then when you go, well, we passed a law that says you could put up a flag in Webster, and then 3 days later you take that away, it shows you how quick things can change. So the more that I always challenge somebody who says, do you still need a pride parade? Do we still need to, like, celebrate a month of pride? I challenge anybody to, like, go to any of our local news, social media, and look at the post. And if it's about a pride thing, read all the comments, and then read through the 700 comments and go, wow, 690 of these comments are hate. Yeah, you need pride, because you need to put that out there, because these voices on social media are so loud and so obnoxious, and because they get to hide behind a keyboard.
Yeah.
That until that you put it up there and then people just go, oh, happy pride, and it's over, then you don't need it anymore, because it's like, then you've got integration into the thing that people are just people.
Because I don't think people are walking around saying I'm amazing because I'm gay.
No.
I think they're walking around saying I'm not going to hide.
I'm not going to hide
because I'm gay.
I'm like, why do we have St. Patrick's Day parade? I'm like,
yeah,
right. Why? Why? It's like,
because we like to get drunk and pretend.
Yeah, that we're all Irish.
I don't even know. I don't think most people know.
Why.
I mean, look, the Irish story is a pretty traumatic one.
It's really, when you, like, get through, like, well, don't look at the American, like, school version of, like, no, that's totally.
The whole thing about, like, the potato famine.
Oh yeah,
it's a fucked up story. Because it's not true.
It's not true.
I mean, was there a potato famine? Yes.
Yes.
I mean, are there crops that every year something happens and we don't do it? But Ireland had enough food.
Yeah.
They had to give it to England.
They had to give it to England.
You got it.
Exactly.
And so now we had starving people and they didn't give a shit. So the Irish were like, well, fuck, yeah, what were we going to do? Yeah. I have a grandmother that came over. I think she was 17. You couldn't come over as a child. I always thought she came over at 9. But I don't think you could come as a child. So I don't know what story I heard. But, try that at 17 years old.
Yeah, take that
to come
to
a new code. Now, they spoke the language, so that helped.
So that helped. But they were still, like, as a group,
yes,
that's the villain.
Yes.
That's the villain. They're coming for your jobs. They're coming for this. They're disease-ridden. They're going to attack your children. It's all of that thing. And then we just go, it's the same playbook. They've just changed the word of, like, the group that we hate right now.
I want to pivot to something that I hadn't really thought about necessarily to talk to you about, but you have an unbelievable presence about you. When you come out as Aggy Dune, you have an unbelievable presence, but in person, as just authentically you, you are you. And I just will ask you, when you talked about in the 80s, how was that for you to come out, to tell people who you really were, to admit that you love someone of the same gender?
Yeah, it was. It was. Coming from a small town, I came from Watkins Glen.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Shit, man.
You're so excited.
Well,
now.
Because I love going down there once in a while, and I have a friend who sets up his shop at the racetrack, so he'll repair a lot of the cars. And now he's started renting cars that you can take out on the track. And I love racing the old track too, through the
town.
Through the town, but I mean, you go through the wood. They're fucking cart paths.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing there.
My grandparents were the original founders of the Grand Prix.
They were.
Yeah.
Wow.
So all of the cars.
So
at the
how
time,
did they have a gay person? They were all motors and oil, buddy.
Yeah, I'm
and
like,
gasoline,
and did not care at all.
Of course they didn't,
because for my grandparents, they had the service station right on Franklin Street, Main Street of Watkins Glen, and so my grandmother
still there,
and they do reenactments of like the first Grand Prix things.
Yeah,
there.
they do,
and there are people who dress up as my grandmother and do the reenactments there because she started all of the safety inspections for the cars.
She did.
Yeah, she did. Not my grandfather. My grandmother did. So it was all these things.
So we have heard us thank, and I say this,
things,
like, I mean, the harness.
All those things. That was like, that goes back to my grandmother. And so they have buildings dedicated to her up at the Grand Prix and that because they were a big part of that. And those cars, every car that came through the garage, and that was the inspection point for all of those cars for the early races.
Yeah.
So now people dress up as my grandmother and impersonate her for this reenactment, which I go, well, that's not much further than what I'm doing.
100%.
It's a full circle moment. Now I want to go back, and I'm like, this year, the part of Flossie Smalley will be played by Aggy Dune.
Oh God, that'd be
so good.
Yes. Now, Watkins Glen. I grew up in a very small rural town that was the largest school district in New York State per square mile. Okay. So I worked in northern Dutchess County, Pine Plains, New York, is where I went to high school. I grew up in a town called Clinton Corners. It was long distance to call from where I lived to Pine Plains.
Wow.
They were a different area code. And
you had area codes.
Yes.
We only had 4 numbers.
What? Oh, you did?
Yeah, we only had 4 numbers.
Wait, and it rang at the person's house, or do you have an intermediate? Really?
Yeah. You just dialed 4 numbers.
I didn't.
You
even
didn't
know
dial
that.
like the 585 or.
Were they a party line?
No.
Oh, because I had a party line.
The town was so small.
Yeah.
That everybody had the same exchange and the same area code, so you only had to dial the last 4 numbers.
Oh.
So my home phone number was 6537.
Okay.
So you only had to know that.
Yeah.
I still know my aunt's was like 4422.
Yeah.
The garage where my dad worked at was 2001. So you just remember those phone numbers because there was only 4 numbers.
Yeah.
Now you got to have an area code and everything else.
So
can't do it.
What was it like then to come out in there? Because I can remember a kid that very flamboyant. I think obviously gay, but certainly couldn't say anything. And in that small little redneck
arts.
Well, everybody who's into like hunting and but back then, I think guys had guns in their trucks because they would hunt after school.
Yeah. I just got a pickup and a gun rack.
You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm going to drive a Pinto blowabout.
That's funny.
Yeah, I think my dad was trying to kill me.
What was the Pinto was not a. I mean, they were. I think didn't they have mid-engine fired? No, that's
if they had a rear end, like collision, if somebody hit the back of it, they would blow up because the gas tank was right at the bumper.
Right at the bumper. I remember my parents had
Loved it. Makes you appreciate life. You never know. This could be my last day.
It's true.
It's true.
But what was when? When did you? Did you wait till you left?
No.
You didn't?
I mean, I didn't. I think I had my graduating class was only 100 people.
I had 68 and only 65 walked.
Yeah, well, that's not bad.
No, that was pretty good.
Statistically, that's not bad. No. We'd give anything for that now. So no, I think at the time it was just and I was the kid who was like the smallest one, and I'm definitely the oddball out. And I had my little group of friends, but then you realize, 10 years later, you look back and you run into these people and you go, "Oh, we were all the gay kids. We didn't even say it to each other because they were just all the misfits that sort of like all like the magnets of different types of things attracted each other, and then you're like, okay, we're just the odd misfits." But in high school, I discovered the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and it was still like in theaters.
Okay. And
so I just gravitated to that and found my tribe of freaky misfits and all that. And so I just leaned into it. And so when you'd get the kids in school, fag, I go, yeah. And then suddenly they were like, I don't have a follow-up to this. I hadn't really thought of it. And so I think you kind of diffuse it when you just go yeah. And
but how old were you?
16, 17.
Yeah, that's young to have that kind of confidence for that.
And then you go I'm going to be out of this town. I kept going, when I was a kid, I was like, I I started crawling to the county line when I was a baby because I'd already seen everything there was to see.
Yeah, Watkins Glen is pretty small.
They're like, oh, it's just an 18-year sentence. I'm like, okay. So then
It's an 18-year sentence. That's hysterical.
When I walk across that graduation stage, I just kept walking.
Yeah.
And then I got tired when I got to Rochester. So I go, this will do.
What was your family like? Did you come out to them? Was there...
Yes, but
You did.
like also I never felt like I had to.
Okay.
So like, I'm really into Rocky Horror and dressing up and going as Frankenfurter every weekend to the movies. And so that first year I was really into that. I remember my mother for Christmas is like, you go down and like, oh, what's under there? It was the platform shoes under the tree and a garter belt hung like tinsel or like a garland on the tree. And she goes, I knew you wanted this for your costume, so I got it for you. So they were really like,
that's a really loving,
yeah,
accepting.
So I didn't tell her officially, like
Yeah.
for like I don't know, like 3 years after that. And then she's all crying, and I'm like, oh my God, what? And she goes, why didn't you tell me before? I'm like, I assumed you knew. She goes, yes, I did, but why didn't you just say something? I'm like, well, I figured like wearing like garter belts and fishnets going to the movies was enough. But sorry, I didn't say it earlier. But you were afraid of losing the people that you love the most, that they may abandonment. So you don't do it, but you're like, I'm going to keep pushing the boundary until you ask me, because I don't want to be the one to do this, to say it, but I'm still not going to not be me. And then when you finally do, and you realize that the people who truly love you regardless. And the people who truly love you have always known, whether or not they knew officially. They're like, there was always something. You really enjoyed that old limerick, rub-a-dub-dub, 3 men in a tub. Like, I don't know.
What and Dad was
cool. He was like so cool. He's like, okay.
Yeah.
He was just like, he raced stock cars on dirt tracks.
Yeah, yeah.
So did I do that as a kid? Yeah, because that's what your dad does.
Yeah, sure.
Did I like it? No. I wanted to be Miss Dundee Speedway.
You did, yeah. Sure. Yeah.
But he was the president of the Speedway. So
He was
as
the
a
president
dad,
of the Speedway.
So as a dad, and this teenage kid comes like, well, I want to be Miss Dundee Speedway. I'd rather be that than race the cars. And he goes, I don't know if that would look good because I'm the president of the Speedway. So I don't think you should probably be, Miss Dundee Speedway, because I think it would look bad, that it would look like it was fixed for you because, I'm the president. So instead of saying, I don't think the world's going to accept like the little cross-dressing kid, instead.
That is a brilliant parent, though.
Yeah.
Because the other would just build shame in you.
Yeah.
Put you
Instead, it
back
was just
in the
like,
closet.
no, I don't
How
think.
the fuck is a guy from Watkins Glen who's
I
turning
don't
wrenches
know.
get that?
And when my
That, like, honestly, as I'm thinking, I go, if someone says that to you, the way...
Right, and you're talking to it to the a language that a kid that age can understand. So
Sure.
when you asked that question earlier, it made me think of when my parents got divorced when I was like 7 or 8.
Okay.
And then my mom sat me down like, your dad and I are going to be, your dad's moving out. I go, oh, okay. Why? And she's like, well, we don't like sharing a bedroom, and we don't have another bedroom in the house, so he's going to get his own place somewhere else. I go, oh. She goes, do you like sharing a room with your brother? I go, no. So she goes, so you understand? I go, okay.
Yeah.
And so to a kid, it was just I don't need to know that, like, whatever your situation is, or, this one cheated on what or whatever. I don't need to know any of that as a kid.
No.
You put it in a kid's perspective of, like, how they can relate it to themselves. So I think that's how my parents have always kind of, like, talked to you at that age. And so I think that's why when you talk to, like, the kid we talked to earlier, it's like, what is it in a kid's perspective that they can understand?
Right.
And just put it into their context. You don't need all the details. We don't need to know how the sausage is made.
You don't. And I think that there's a lot of times, like, being separated myself, I wasn't handled right. And I see the ramifications of that.
You're a young person who gets married and gets into the life and all that. And we always look at our parents as like the smartest people we know. And yeah, they were the smartest person I knew. But then as you get older, you realize they're just kids trying to figure out life also. And sometimes you're like, it doesn't work. And like, they don't make the best decisions because you're in the emotions of like a breakup or whatever it is. So you just kind of have to give everybody the grace of like life. So I try to do that with everybody. Like,
has that been always your sort of personal philosophy? I'll call it.
Yeah, I think because like growing up, like everybody else, I was like the only. I think my parents were the only one in our entire family, and like aunts, uncles, and all that got divorced. So it was like that is different. And none of the kids in my class, no one's parents were divorced. You're like, oh, how scandalous.
Yeah.
But it also gives you a perspective of like, this is just life, and you just kind of deal with it. So maybe, I don't know. I'm like, it's hard to look back and say, is this what I do?
Have you ever had, look, we all know about the protests that have happened that, I don't know about drag shows so much as...
Oh, we've had those, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I work with Mrs. Kasha Davis, and
I always think like it's a fucking waste of time. I mean, I look, when I see things like the No Kings protest, I get it. Okay. But I'm going, I feel like you're yelling into a fucking well. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I don't think you're wrong. But at the same time, I look, and because when I talk to, owning a hair salon and having different types of people that sit in the chair and they all talk, it's amazing that people will talk to you and tell you everything the minute you put your hands on them. Because the only people that you touch generally in your life are your loved ones and your family. And so you feel the most secure.
People,
so the minute you put like hands on a shoulder or you're just moving a face, it breaks down your defenses. So you become more comfortable to sharing things. But the people that came in that go to the No Kings March, because social media has isolated us all so much, and you're only hearing the extreme voices on the left and the extreme voices on the left and the right, is that they went to the No Kings March and they go, I felt like I was around other people that thought the same way I did because I was feeling really alone in what's going on in the world. So I went to this. No one's going, we're going to go to this and this is going to change things. So I think it's finding that community.
Well, I'm also probably lazy. I mean, let's be honest.
Well, I'm lazy.
I mean,
I'm like, I'd rather like sit here and talk about it than go out there and be cold in the rain.
Okay, but could we apply that same theory of being around like-minded people to pride in a sense?
Yeah. So you want to go out and be with other people that says, look, there are people out here that support me and support my way of thinking. And I don't think it's any different than like if you go to Pride and have that experience, or you go to a monster truck rally and you have that experience on the other side. I don't think that you might have some of those same people go to Pride, go to monster truck.
Yeah.
But generally, I don't think they overlap a lot.
No, probably not.
But
have you ever had somebody say something, I don't know, I guess, to your face that really hurt? And let's go more as an adult, maybe as Aggy Dune.
Probably a few weeks ago, just walking down Park Avenue, like walking my dog. I live in Park Avenue, and just walking my dog down through there. And now Park Avenue has become the new Charlotte, kind of like. So all night it's just like.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's turned into just such trash.
Oh, that's
it's
really
awful.
Unfortunate.
So, but just walking the dog, and then just it still goes right to it. Just walking the dog, and the car goes by and goes faggot. And
really?
And you just go like, oh, I'm like, so like I go, that word doesn't mean anything, but does it take you right back to like 15? Boom. And so you're just like, what the fuck? Someplace where you feel really safe. This is my neighborhood. I walk my dog here every day. I live here. This is where I built my business. This is where I built my family. This is where I built my life. And then to have that kind of thing. So it goes right back to that.
I've told this story before, but I will say it again since you're here. And I'll tag it with one that my dad had said too. When I was at Fisher, I had a girlfriend that lived off of Oxford Street, down in the city, in that Park Avenue.
Yep, that's right where I am.
And under where they lived were two gay men, and one of the other girls that she was a roommate with, and her, they left us at a bar. It's like wintertime or something. So we come staggering home. And I am loud screaming outside the front window
Stella!
Where the gay people lived. And I'm screaming, Maricón, which I believe means faggot in Spanish. And you faggots, what you guys doing in there, butt fuckers, blah, blah. Yeah. Then, Tom, I watched as one of the men was afflicted with AIDS, and you watched this person really disappear. And I saw the other man carrying
what's left of him
out and putting him in the car. I almost started to cry immediately. I can almost get emotional thinking about it now. And I thought, oh my God, what a dick I am. These were just
it's a macho teenage kid, like just
I mean, it was like I was in I was in my early 20s, but still. And I remember going, oh my God, these are two people who genuinely love each other.
Yeah.
This person is taking someone who clearly is dying. And I remember, I think I ran into the person years later when I was in radio, and I couldn't help myself but say, I don't know if you remember this, but I owe you such an apology. They couldn't have been kinder.
Because you know what? It happened a lot.
I don't know how they couldn't have remembered it.
But it happened so much that the one doesn't stand out from any other one.
God.
So
and then, it was even my dad, like when my sister wound up living with someone before marriage, right? And he was the Irish Catholic, but we switched religions, which became a whole big fucking thing. It switched to Protestantism, not like it's still Christianity, but not the Catholic Church.
Yeah,
it was a bad deal.
Policy changed slightly.
You got it. In the family, it was not people weren't talking to each other. But he said at that point that there is no higher thing than love. So if two people are in love and they live together, then it's not a sin. And then he applied that to homosexuality as well in his mind. And I guess the fact that we have to do that is I don't know. It seems a little odd today, but when I think back, I go, God damn. And you just
I think to give that grace to young people who are still figuring things out.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. It's just like, okay, this is a person who. Don't think that reflects who you are as a person. It reflects like a decision you made as a young person who's still figuring out who you are in the world. And then to have the person that you are is the person that you became that said, I have to go back and apologize for this.
Yeah.
That's the person that you are.
Well, it bothered me so deeply. And the thing
it stuck with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
You're
really
like,
stuck with
this
me.
This was not a good choice.
Really stuck with me. And I think for myself, having always feared that people would think I was gay because I was molested at 7 and so performed gay acts.
It's that overcompensation of
way overcompensation, dude. The overcompensation was out fucking outrageous.
If
when
I
was in
scream
school.
it that way, molester.
Yes.
Does that look like our politics today? Look over there. Look over there. I'm the one doing that. But look over there.
I used to do things like climb to the top of the. It happened. It was a gradual thing over the years, and then I turned it into a game where I would shit from the top of the stall to see if I could get it in the toilet, and it became such a hit thing that I think right. But again, overcompensation. Like I loved attention, and I wanted to be that guy.
I want to control the attention.
You got it. Yeah. And so that was right. Look over here. I'm not really that way, and I don't think I ever. Once you kind of go, you just. I don't know.
Well, is it any different than like the drag queen who goes, I want to control the attention? Is it the game to drag because I'm going to control the attention by being like the loudest and brightest and the most like, there it is. Yep, there it is. What are you going to do about it?
Has drag made your skin thicker?
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because you get to be more of yourself, which is so bizarre to say. You're more of yourself when you put on this giant costume and wig and all that stuff, but you get to hide behind that at the same time. But it allows you like the freedom to like be more yourself because it's a costume, it's a character.
Yes,
no, it isn't. It's what it is.
It's an extension of
but it's that same thing. So it's like, what do you do to like overcompensate for that hurt kid that you were to like, let me put on this macho persona so that you don't think this less of me because of something that happened, or to be that hurt kid who's like, everyone's like, that kid's a fag, that one, that one. Teachers who do the same thing growing up. And so you kind of go like, okay, that's how the whole world sees you. Well, then I'm just going to lean into it and be even more fag.
But see, this is where some people don't have the stamina to do that.
It's exhausting.
But even that, they would just rather kill themselves.
Yeah.
Because it's easier. And I always think that, we look at I don't know if it's called suicide anymore, to be quite honest with you. I don't know.
Unaliving yourself is so you can say it on social media.
But I always think like we used to get so mad at people. I remember an after-school special that they showed us in health class with Charlie Sheen and
those are good days.
Barbie
Benton and Robbie Benson.
Yes, yes. I think it was one of them, and they were in it. And it was Chad Lowe.
Oh yeah,
Rob's brother.
Yep.
Yeah,
we couldn't get the budget for Rob, but we got Chad.
So Chad and Charlie, and it had who was the guy who played WKRP in Cincinnati, Dr. Johnny Fever. He was the dad. and the kid's giving, but we saw it as just the worst thing you can do. Look what you do to the family. It's so selfish was what I was told. I look at it now and go, no, it's a person who just needed an escape. Is it the ultimate escape? Yes, it is. Is it unfortunate? Yes, it is. But does that mean that they were evil and selfish and a complete prick? No, not necessarily.
It's that same thing you said earlier. It's a mixture of truth and this. And so could it be both? Was it maybe selfish that you are going to inflict this on your family?
You know what? That's very fair. You're
and then the other
right.
person, but I had no other choice.
Yeah.
Because I felt so alone, and I felt like there's literally nowhere left for me to turn to find somebody that accepts me for myself. And so then you go, well, if I'm so alone in the world, like I can't keep fighting every day.
I think that's where a lot of times the argument that will be pushed back against pride is, I don't care what anybody else does.
No.
As long as it doesn't affect my life.
Right.
And I can say that about drug use or
anything,
guns, all this, right? However, I think that most people go, well, why do they have to have this if I can't have? I don't have white American Day.
I do. It's called you woke up.
I got it.
You know what it is? It's the conversation we just had. It's that kid who didn't have any other recourse but to say, yes. I can't go on living in this world. Right. So to have it for that, to say, it's going to be, there are people out there.
That is
for
what
you.
I'm taking from this conversation.
So when you see a Pride in like Rochester and it's big and we have this huge thing, it's now in Highland Park and Trillium Health runs the whole thing. And when you see something like that, but you're in Macedon or some other like little podunk town in upstate New York that we have 1 billion of, and that's your mecca that you're hoping to one day get to. That light needs to keep shining out there for those kids that are in these like Watkins Glens or Painted Post or wherever those little towns, and going, one day my tribe is out there. I just have to get to them.
Do you feel a responsibility to younger people?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that all of us do. That like you're trying to make it a path that's less troublesome for the people behind you. So you're stomping down and creating that path so the next one behind you has a little bit easier, so they can make that path a little bit easier for the one behind them. Because you know how hard it was for you to get where you are now. So you don't want. I think it's a parent kind of thing. As we get older,
sure.
you go into parent mode and you just go, I just want to make it easier for my kids.
Right.
Even though, like, I don't know who most of these people are.
What is the, I think a lot of times too, modeling certain behavior or the way you handle the flag coming down is a pretty logical answer. Online criticism. The bait is there for you to take if you want it. You're like, I'm gonna respond. I'm gonna keep this hate going back and forth and just fuel this whole thing. Or you can get involved in politics and try to make changes that are positive for the overall community. You going online and A, reading those comments, or going online and B, feeding into those comments, that's completely, it does nothing. It accomplishes nothing. I saw, and maybe you saw this too, a social media post. I almost reached out to this person to see, again, just looking to, I'm curious. I'm curious. I want to know about different people. But I think in this one, it was women at maybe a gay pride, something. It might have been about the flag coming down. I don't know. And they were screaming, like really, really screaming. And it's not a good look.
It's not
for them, but I don't know.
But you also go, these are people so passionate that they don't know any other recourse.
Yeah.
So they're going out and doing it. I think for me that my perspective on a lot of it is that because I'm in the public eye of like being on stage and being a performer and being like, I do so many things that are in the public eye that I have to monitor like how I truly respond to things and to make a more thoughtful approach to whatever it is. And I don't think that most people have that because they live anonymously in the world and they can do whatever they want and there's no repercussions. I go, well, if you're a person in the public eye, there's repercussions immediately. So those people, I understand when they get so passionate they have to do that. Whether they're on the right or the left, I get that they're like just feeling like there's nothing else I can do. I've got to scream it. Like they're chaining themselves to a flagpole. And you go, I think that we're in that that level of what you just don't know what to do. And again, that's why things like Pride has to happen, so that those people go, okay, if I just go to these other people, go, okay, we're all going to be okay. We're going to be all right. It's just another policy. If you don't like that, here's the 3 names of the people who voted, no, you can't have this. Vote them out. Don't boo. Vote.
Yeah, it's a more mature way, I guess, but I would also say a more thoughtful way.
A thoughtful way, because
Right. It's
if
a
you're
really,
feeding
really
into that, like throwing more fuel on the fire, it's just that's a great thing. If you guys are all fighting, you're not seeing everything else that's going on.
Right. I would say, has anyone ever shared a story with you about, well, I guess I'll say a story with you that showed you your work mattered?
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Good.
Which is always humbling, because you just go like, I just want to go out, do what I do, on a selfish way. I'm like, I'm just getting like love and applause from people, and you get addicted as a performer, is like getting that all the time.
Right.
But we were doing a brunch or something, and it was like in the middle of like somewhere.
Did you
between here and
start all
Buffalo.
the drag queen brunches? Did you start all
Kasha
this?
Davis and I, just doing these like brunches all over,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's, you realize that the crowd itself is like, not everyone wants to go out to like the 12 o'clock midnight show at the gay bar, and you also don't want all those same people there. So how can you make this more approachable for people to like go out and go, how do you, I'm changing, when the world is changing so much and you're vilifying a whole group of people.
Sure, but how do you make that pitch to the restaurant?
Most restaurants are looking like, what can we do to get people in the door?
Okay.
And you're like,
Sure.
if it says you need to bring in the carnival acts, you go like, try it. Try it once. If it doesn't work, and that's how, when we first initially did it, if that doesn't work, what are you out? Nothing. But I'm like, TV show's really popular. RuPaul's Drag Race is popular. People want to see it. Yeah. There's a curiosity factor. We just did a show. Well, they just recently closed Robbie's. Do you know Robbie's Bar and Grill out in Hilton, Greece? That way.
Not Charlotte.
They have like a Trump statue in front of it.
Okay.
You walk in, they sell Charlie Kirk T-shirts, and we believe in God, guns, and Trump. All this paraphernalia everywhere. It is just that. And they hired us to come do a brunch there.
They did?
And I was like, I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
Todd Youngman, he's like, I've done some comedy things there. I just want you to know this is the kind of bar it is. So if you guys are doing a brunch there, I don't want you to walk in and be blindsided. So I'm like, okay. So we had a few people who were scheduled to go, who were to perform, and they just went, I don't feel comfortable going.
Okay.
And I'm like, I understand. But I'm like, we have to go, and we're going to do this. And it was all like 40 to 60-year-old women hammered out of their minds.
Yeah, baby.
10:30 in the morning, they are completely bombed.
Oh, man. 2-for-1 mimosas.
They are just pounding and smoking their vape pens right at the bar, and it's just such trash. But they're bringing like dildos to drag brunch. I don't know why. This is their thing. So I'm like, okay. And so we're going out, and they're just like wanting to stuff dollar bills down our outfits like strippers. And they're reaching up into stuff, things out, like shoving it. And I'm just going, I don't understand. But I also go, I don't know if they know what
repressed.
This is. I don't know what it is. But those are my people. But they bought so much of my merch that I have out there that is just really kind of making fun of them. They're buying all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm selling a ton of this crap to them. And then talking to them after the show, talking to the owner and then the bar manager, I'm like, we did not want to come here because of like the type of bar this is. And they go, what do you mean? We let everybody in here. I go, well, if you have to say that, you don't let everybody in. But because of everything you have up on the walls and all that says, I'm not welcome here.
Yeah.
And so, but they go, well, then why'd you come here? I go, if I don't come here and meet you where you're at, I don't want to say change your mind. I can't open your mind to see it from my perspective. I'm like, would you ever consider coming to one of the gay bars to see one of these shows? Because you said you had a great time and you'd go again. They go, well, no, I wouldn't feel comfortable going to one of those bars. I go, okay, now just take that and hold a mirror to it. That's how I felt coming here. I guess I'm braver than you are. And so you have these conversations one-on-one. Granted, these women are hammered, but to have that, we did a brunch where it was in the middle, somewhere between here and Buffalo, it was nowhere. And this mother and her son, he was like maybe 15 or so, he came, and then they do a meet and greet afterwards, take pictures, and she comes up and she's just like vibrating and shaking. She's like, can I give you a hug? I'm like, sure. And she goes, thank you for doing this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We drove over an hour to come to this because my son wanted to come to this so much. I know he's gay. He hasn't said it yet, but I know he's gay. He's going to be going off to college in a few years, and I'm terrified for him because I know how cruel the world can be. But coming here, I got to meet all of you, and I know that there's a community out there waiting for him. And this is the best day he has ever had. I've never seen him smile so much. That kid, we signed. He bought pictures. He's buying merch. He's doing this. We're signing all the stuff. He's taking all the photos. To him, it was like the biggest thing that, like, it's like meeting Santa to like a 4-year-old.
Sure.
And I went, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And if that's what you're doing, so when you meet those kind of people and you're realizing like that they go, I travel an hour to come to a drag brunch in the middle of like podunk nowhere because this is the closest thing that we have where we live. So I wanted my son to feel special, and I wanted him to have that.
I always think the greatest thing you can do if you don't appreciate something is you don't go to it.
Well,
Otherwise, who cares?
I don't want to go to a monster truck rally, but I go if you. Does that
I don't
bring
think
you
I've
joy?
ever been to a monster truck
No,
rally.
and I don't ever want to.
I'm not even a fan of really watching racing.
No, it's
unless
boring.
I can do it.
If I can do it, it's a lot more fun.
It's a
Watching
lot more
it
fun.
is this.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind actually Watkins Glen standing in turn 1. I have a lot of fun. I used to like to go down for the Ferrari races because it's not crowded. Get a glass of wine and sit in one of those big Adirondack chairs. Look at the view of Seneca Lake from there.
Beautiful.
It's unbelievable.
And then there's things zipping by.
Yeah,
You're like,
and
wow,
the cars.
this is
And
cool.
usually, as they get into that loop, you'll see a crash. Unfortunately,
that's why we're there.
It's those are
You know
unfortunate.
what? That's like
though.
drag queens. They're like a car accident.
Yeah.
You know, like you don't want to get involved with one, but you definitely go, I gotta see what that's all about. Like, is there any? What's the casualties?
It's interesting. Real quick on the business side of drag queen. Nobody sees the bookkeeping. Nobody sees the time it takes to get ready. Nobody sees the cost of the wigs, the outfits.
Oh God, no.
The stuff. What does that sound like? The marketing, the travel.
There's so much.
Yeah.
It's
like a full-time
those who
job.
take it professionally and like say is it something I enjoy doing? Yes. How do I transfer this into a business and to make a living at that? And you can make a living. You can make an amazing living at that. But is it expensive? People go, oh, can I just borrow that wig? I go, well, sure. I mean, I could give you where I had it made, and you can.
Wait,
go
you
to
had it made?
Yeah. So you have them. Yeah, you have people who make it. I don't have time to do it anymore. So so I have made. I'm like, but like the wig was.
Wait, but you made your own in the past?
Yeah,
I think
like,
you just bought wigs. Like you just went to a wig store and bought a wig.
No.
Oh, I didn't know this.
No. Well, yes, you can buy them there.
Yes.
But then, like, so here it is. It's sort of like, and shake it and go, and that's, well, you'd look like Spirit Halloween. So they need to be styled into
Yes,
that.
they
And
do.
so, like, and generally, like, the queens that you go, wow, that looks really amazing, is like 3 wigs sewn together and stacked and created. And so it's, you know, heavy, hot.
Yes.
There's
Yes.
structure. There's a whole,
Yeah.
there's a small village that lives in there that makes it run. But I'm like, but that wig was like $800. So I'm like, do I want to loan it to you for like a birthday party? No. I'm like, how about, can I borrow that outfit? I go, the outfit was $2,500. So no.
Yeah.
I'm like, but if you want to buy it, I'm like, I'll sell it to you for $2,000 and I'll just go buy something else. But so they go, it costs that much? I go, yeah. Yeah, this is, yeah. I mean, or you could be like the one over there. I go, well, she's not very good. And I go, yeah, that's because that outfit came from like, you know,
It's kind
Forever
of
21.
an art.
It's
What
an
you
art,
do
yeah.
is an art.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like, so you're creating a whole nother person.
Yep.
A personality, a persona, and then like the whole armor of everything.
Having
to
sat
wear.
here and talked to you and having seen you perform and having actually, I think they call it sharing a stage. I think we've shared a stage before.
Yeah.
I could see this is you and that's just an extension of you. Maybe an exaggerated
an
version.
exaggerated version of like the one who
Yes.
goes, oh, I don't have guardrails when I've got all this on because I can do whatever I want.
Yes. Yeah.
I can say like really jokes that you probably shouldn't say, but
Yeah.
I can do it in that because you're like, oh, it's just part of the act.
Yeah. I just don't think most people appreciate all that goes into it. What does an ideal world look like for Aggy Dune? What would that look like?
Oh, an ideal world in what aspect?
I don't know.
An ideal
just
world.
Say,
Let's see. I never have to do a show past 2 in the afternoon. No. Ideal world. Just one where people just sort of coexist and say like, everyone is so different and everybody brings so many different things. And I I think if you just focus on your life and less about others,
Yes.
that you just start, it's like, just focus on the good things in your life.
Yes.
Focus on those, focus on your family, the people that matter.
Yeah.
Life is not guaranteed.
No.
Be kinder to yourself. That we beat up on ourselves so much about like saying, I'm not good enough for this, or I'm not worthy of this. I think if we can be a little kinder to ourselves, and you know, I'm like one of the ones who for a long time like hated getting older so much that I would just like fight it and just like I can't stand getting older. And then I think it's like growing up in the 80s and having so many people I knew that were like in their early 20s and dying of AIDS, and just going to funeral after funeral after funeral after funeral. It was like so you get up, you go to work, and then we're going to go to a funeral, and then we're going to go dancing, and then tomorrow we're going to do the same thing and go to work and go to another funeral and then go dancing, because you just have to keep that cycle of like, why are you going out dancing? I'm like, because I need to enjoy something in life, because you don't know, like that middle spot, that funeral part, that could be me in just a few weeks. So you have to.
How scary was that time?
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
And knowing that, again, there was nowhere to turn.
Did it? I mean, I think sometimes too the argument was the promiscuity that goes on in the gay community. I don't know if there's truth to that or not. I have no idea, but there's a lot.
It was lack of knowledge. And
there's promiscuity and fucking
go to the, what is it? The Villages.
Oh,
You want to talk about like
yes,
about some
exactly.
dirty whores.
Thank you. Yes,
You
dirty
want to
whores. Yes.
Dirty whores. That's called the human experience. So whatever
is that what that is?
Yeah, whatever you want to call it, it's the human experience. So like if the promiscuity is part of like that we are human creatures, and then sexuality is part of our being, and however you choose to express that is like that's for you. So to have AIDS, and they have it called like the gay plague, gay cancer, and that to really at the time watching our government just going, it's not worthy of investing any money in this. So I got involved in the early 80s right here in Rochester with AIDS Rochester, which was founded here. And it was a whole task group to like educate, make people aware, figure out like treatments that we could do. We're raising money for that. So I've always been really involved with.
I think Isaiah House, did that come out of that?
Mm-hmm. And
Which
now
I mean, it was where people who couldn't go anywhere else.
Go anywhere.
This was hospice and run by really loving people and it's still in existence. It obviously
it's a change. It's
not
evolved
AIDS,
into,
but it's more for what you can't afford.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So AIDS Rochester then morphed into now Trillium Health. And so I've been, that all came from the same thing. And so
I had no idea.
So a lot of the AIDS research that we now have that the world experiences, like all of that research and stuff was done here in Rochester. This was like ground zero for a lot of that.
I always felt like AIDS didn't really get respected until Magic Johnson.
Well, because it doesn't affect straight people until you see something like that. Otherwise, it was just like, ugh.
But I mean, here he is still around, right?
Yeah.
And it was all the medicine and things. And obviously, look, when you have means, things are easier. I understand.
But so to grow up in all of that, and so that got me involved in doing like fundraising and awareness and education, and being that spokesperson and being that person who's always out there and like trying to raise money and trying to raise awareness to like save people, and to like, what can I do with my platform to do a positive thing to the rest of the world? And so that's why I've always looked at my position as being like a drag performer. Is like you're the touchstone that we can see. You're the most visibly iconic kind of person within the community. So be as well versed and educated on whatever subject you're talking about, so that you can be a good representation, a good ambassador.
I know we're all over the place. What was that first show like that you ever did when you come out as Aggy Dune?
Oh my God!
Were you nervous as hell, or
no?
No.
Oh my God! Wow. You're like, I can't wait to do this. Yeah.
Really?
Bring it. I'm
okay.
like, I'm gonna take all these other bitches down.
And then you knew, like, even that was, I mean, to come up with the name and the costume and the
stuff
persona.
And back then I was all punk rock and like coming out in like, wheelchairs and straight jackets and like shaved heads and, it's just like performance art. It was the 80s.
Yeah.
So it was like all like, what can I shock people with?
Sure.
With like, oh, it's so cutting edge. And then that morphed into like, okay, now I'm going to be like bar queen. Now I'm going to do the pageants and do all the pageants, and then very regal and doing all that. And
do you have a favorite drag performer yourself?
Oh, there's a lot that I look at, and I
don't want you to have to.
I respect where they've taken it and what they do with their drag career, because there's a lot of them made entire careers out of it. Like the easy one to say is like RuPaul is like being that like punk kind of performer and then created like working in a band and now has created an industry.
Yeah.
And an entire world
Yeah.
that is amazing. So you can look at somebody like that who's done that. You could also say the flip side of it is that they've also sort of like taken the best of that whole community and go, well, I'll just strip mine it and kind of pick it apart. But it's given it a platform, and it's created a show that families can watch.
Yeah.
And so you might have your kid who goes, you want to watch this together? And then they watch RuPaul with their mom, and that's a bonding thing for them to like start a conversation.
That's that's an interesting way to look at that. Is there anything just jumping back to Pride, anything that you would say that is overrated about Pride, or anything that's underrated about Pride?
Ooh, so much.
Yeah.
To go back to one question before that, like if there's something I could change in an ideal world,
Yeah.
I want all the gays, the lesbians, the non-binary, the transgender to take pride in how you dress at Pride. This should be the day you look your best. I don't know. Maybe it's the old mom in me that's like, this is your big day in front of everyone. So I've kind of gotten like one part of me, I look at Pride and I go, it is just like the most like, what are you doing? There's a time and place for everything. This is not for here.
Gotcha.
Do that at the party afterwards.
Yeah.
Do that at the club afterwards. I'm like, you don't need to be out there with like
Right.
boobs hanging out and like because you can.
Does that hurt?
I think it does not help the movement. I think that,
And
if
this
you're
is where
trying to
people get.
Yes, because what does the news want to go like? Get the guy in just a
the
jock
most
strap.
salacious,
Yeah, because that scandal. Oh my God! And if you're on the other side, you're like, see, the news was right. Fox News was telling the truth. That's what they're doing. And it doesn't even have to be that they're in the same thing, but it's like there's somebody up there and like just a jockstrap dancing on a float, and then the next shot is like a kid at a playground.
Yeah.
And it could have been from a whole nother news story, but it's like you just stitch them together. So I just think like this is the day like wear your absolute best. All eyes are on you. So I challenge everyone in Rochester: dress your best for Pride.
When is Pride?
It's the second week of July.
Oh, that's right.
We
That is
moved
right.
our
Yes.
Pride in Rochester out of June, National Pride Month, because we're surrounded by Buffalo, Toronto, New York City.
So people.
So all of those, like you'd go to that Pride, and you go to this one, and go to this one, and so it was pulling people from our Pride because they were going to the other ones. So we said, well, let's just move it a few weeks into July, and so then all those other places like Toronto and Buffalo and New York would go, well, let's go up to that one because the party continues.
People go, why do I got to take my July? They got the whole month of June.
Exactly. And I go like, you know what? We'd like to move it to like, I don't know, November where it's cooler because drag is not kind to, or summer is not kind to the drag queen.
No,
She does not.
I
like
would
it.
think that that's pretty
Mother
tough.
Nature hates her.
We'll wrap it up here with if anybody listening left this conversation remembering one thing, what would you want that thing maybe to be for you?
I hope that if they can, one thing, be kinder to each other. Be more patient with one another. Be more patient with people in your family. They're all going through things and they're trying to figure out everything in life, and we're all on that journey of figuring things out. And right now you might be very righteous on what you think your thing is, but everyone's going through something. Take a moment, take a breath, and have a conversation. Just sit down with somebody who's completely different than you and just hear each other's stories.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it has to change your political views. It doesn't have to change like any of your things. But when you can see the world through somebody else's experience, it changes that you're like, oh, okay. It's not just about me in the world. So just take a moment and be kind.
Boy, that's really interesting because so many, there are people who weren't speaking to other family members and things.
Oh, God, yeah.
And I find that so sad that you couldn't work past something like that.
Yeah, we all want to dig our feet in at times and
Yeah,
just
sure.
go like, no,
Yeah.
I'm so mad at this.
Right.
And life is really short, and you don't want to carry that anger with you because the only thing that's hurting is yourself.
Right.
So, if there's a person who's toxic and and not healthy for your life and your experience, distance yourself for now. But just have conversations.
Yeah.
You'll find that like a lot of that is just self-imposed. So stop.
Sure.
So
Right.
Be kinder to yourself.
I went longer than I had promised you, so I hope I'm
it's
not
fine.
screwing up
You're
your
fine.
day.
Yeah.
I know you had other things going on today.
You know, I'm out spreading the joy and the glitter.
Yes. All right. Well, I found this conversation to be fantastic, and I appreciate your time very much.
I would come back at any time.
Well, then I you know when I would like you to come. I mean, we could do that again.
Yeah, we'll circle back.
You need to teach a diversity class.
I teach at Nazareth.
Wait, you do?
Yeah, a course on drag.
I did not
And
know.
I'm going to start a course on drag at U of R in the fall.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's like just express yourself through drag. It's
Yeah.
just like have fun.
Wow. I want to see.
See, now you'll have to come do a show there and like interview those ones.
Yeah. Well, it's just interesting that the wow, you're doing a lot. You're doing a lot.
Got to do what you can.
For Aggy Dune, I'm Bill Moran. We'll see you next time.
Cadillac with Tennessee bliss. It was somewhere in Nevada, cold outside. She was shivering in the dark.
You ever notice how people drive around with a garage full of junk while complaining they're broke? If you don't have any friends that do that, it might be you. How about that rusty grill? Maybe you got a pile of copper wire or a random chunk of metal that's been sitting behind the shed since the Clinton administration. Yeah, all of that is money. And that's where Premier Metal Recycling comes in. These guys know value, like real value, not internet math, actual cash value. Whether it's scrap steel, copper, brass, aluminum, Premier Metal will tell you what it's worth and put money in your hand. Honestly, it's one of the few places left where cleaning out your garage can actually pay off. They have two convenient locations, 909 West Linden Avenue in East Rochester and 11 Carn Street in downtown Rochester. You can also check daily pricing and exactly what materials they're buying at premiermetalgroup.com. Or, if you're feeling friendly, give them a call directly at 585-436-4020. Premier Metal Recycling, because your junk pile might actually be your emergency fund.